let us watch Rev's story. Rev's story is a bit longer, and we're gonna jump into this early because you know how I get with Rev. I'm not even going to pretend like this isn't gonna take a while. It's a Rev story. I talk a lot on Rev. Whoop, sorry, wrong one. I talk a lot on the Rev stuff, so we're gonna jump into this first. And yeah, maybe an hour long, entirely possible. But that's why we're gonna do it first. So it's done, and I'm very aware I need to do an hour on this. So, Bill, first time. All right. So I know a little bit about this. Let's find out just how bad it is.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So
Hi,
today we got
Rev.
some more news involving Bioware and EA. As it turns out, actions do in fact have consequences, and the
Mm-hmm.
monumental failure of Dragon Age the Veilguard, which has now been confirmed by EA, has led to a round of layoffs that have left the majority of the team over at Bioware who worked on Dragon Age without a job. Now, it's no mystery it's been a very rough couple of days and weeks for Bioware. Recently, we saw the director of Dragon Age resign and move on to another company. On top of
Yeah,
that, right around
I
that
remember
time, we
that.
saw a new preliminary quarter 3 report coming from EA, who owns BioWare, who reported two major pain
Oh.
points as to why their company is struggling. And
Oh, I don't think I saw this one. It announced that Dragon Age failed to meet expectations. That's no big surprise there. EA was forced to lower revenue forecasts for both the quarter and fiscal year. Fuck, I hadn't heard about this, but yeah, I was just about to bring that up, Atsunashi. Atsunashi, you yourself posted the EA stock price in Discord, and EA's stock has gone off a fucking cliff. Atsunashi, if you want to post it in stream chat on the Discord so people can see, EA stock price has gone off a cliff. It is plummeted. They are hemorrhaging money. Yeah, 6 billion in stock losses. Like, they are tanking. Player count this quarter was 1.5 million, which is 50% less than their expectations. So, they're fucking up every which way. EA, BioWare, they are fucking up every which way.
one of those pain points was, in fact, Dragon Age the Veilguard, which only sold 1.5 million units, which was 50% of their expectation. Clearly, this
It's
was a
it.
big impact on their quarter 3, which was a disappointment.
Well, yeah, J10, because what we saw for the Steam charts was just the Steam charts. It did not account. We do not know what the count was on console. We saw, what was it? I think they managed to squeak by with what, 300,000 on. Hang on, let's find out. All-time peak of 660,000. I was way lower. Yeah, they had an all-time peak. No, here we go. All-time peak of 89,000. That was their peak on PC. They had less than 90,000 players on PC. But it is PC only. We don't know what the numbers were on console. Supposedly, they got 1.5 million. And if I remember correctly, the sales are even lower. Well, like, yeah, it's exactly. I seem to recall that that this 1.5 million was not actually the player count for the quarter. 1.5 million, I don't think is what they got for the quarter. This is the expected lifetime player count. It's not the current. 1.5 million from one of the reports we saw was what BioWare was anticipating as being a lifetime number, not a current. Not a current number. So this is disingenuous. Because the player count, the PC player count was less than 90,000. Console's not going to be any better than that. So they're fucking with the numbers, I think. Because the report we saw, I can't remember if it was Rev or if I'm pretty sure it was with a Rev story that we saw. They were anticipating, okay, Technopath, get some rest. They were anticipating 1.5 player count for the lifetime of the game. Not what they currently have. So this is, the player count is, I think they're fucking with the numbers here. I think EA or BioWare is, if this is what EA and BioWare is saying, that their player count for the quarter is 1.5 million, I think they're cooking the numbers on that. Because the other report said that was going to be the lifetime, not the quarter.
By their own terms, and in response to that, the stock over at EA would plummet very quickly and very harshly, losing about 20%
off a cliff
in one day. The market value of EA dropped by billions, largely in part to the failure of Veilguard.
Look at that.
Right around that.
Yeah, so that's what Nia Natsunashi was saying. They lost billions in market capital right here. Off a cliff. Right here on the 20th, which I believe is the day Veilguard released. That's bad. That is, we are about to sell the company levels of bad.
Veilguard. Right around that time, we also saw that Dragon Age the Veilguard will likely be having its final major update with the patch 5 launch, essentially wiping their hands clean.
Oh yeah, that's when it went.
Game, which was
that's when it plummeted, when they made this announcement, because it said 6 days ago. Yeah. So yeah, today's the 30th. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. That when they made the announcement about no more updates, that's when it went off a cliff. They made no more updates, and everybody's moving on to Mass Effect.
Patch 5 launch, essentially wiping their hands clean of this game, which was, of course, a big failure. And then, just yesterday, we saw GameStop reporting this right here. I don't know if they're mocking the situation or they're trying to legitimately sell this game. I'm not sure. But either way, Dragon Age the Veilguard is now
they're legitimately trying to get them off the shelves.
$24.99. Yeah.
This is... GameStop is trying to get these off the shelves. They probably could not sell these to save their life. And we've seen this happen with games before. I forget which game it was that launched at $70, and within like 2 weeks, it dropped to like $19.99. Because it was so fucking bad. We've seen, this isn't them trying to do mocking. This was them just trying to get rid of a shit ton of stock that no one wants. Was it Fallout 76 that fell that low? It's entirely possible, yeah. There's been more than one game that this has happened to. That the launches at full price, and within like 2 weeks, the price like drops to a quarter of the price because no one's buying it and they just want to get the fuck rid of it. And that's what's happening here. They probably have a shit ton of stock because nobody wants it. Absolutely nobody wants this game. They probably couldn't even give it away at this point.
Yes, this game went from $70
yeah, they were bundling it with game consoles, I think, Alex.
That is a horrible look for BioWare and a real reflection of just how desperate they are to move on from this and try to basically scrap together as many sales as humanly possible. You can see right from their own website.
Oh, self-right-think you might, and then
it
tank.
Is a very, very concerning look for BioWare, who's now facing another major crisis here. So, from IGN... EA
exactly,
is
Atanashi. It's a shit
BioWare
game.
Following Dragon Age the Veilguard, moving a number of developers onto other projects within EA and focusing BioWare on finishing Mass Effect. So I love the fluffy language they use, like restructuring.
Oh,
They're
yes, that
firing
beautiful
people.
corpo
There's a
language.
round of layoffs, and if you look at a lot of the access media covering the situation, they use terms like restructuring instead of firing and things like that because this obviously doesn't look good for their own interests. They supported companies like Bioware.
And it's this soft language. I've talked about this in the Discord that these corporations use soft language so it doesn't make so it lessens the impact and doesn't make it seem so harsh. So instead of saying, yeah, we just fired a bunch of people or we laid off a bunch of people, which gives the connotations of holy shit, they're saying we're restructuring. So to the layperson that either has no vested interest or is not familiar with corpo speak, they're thinking, oh, they're just doing a shuffle. They're moving people around. And they don't know that what restructuring means is a whole bunch of people just lost their fucking jobs. Yeah, it's that soft language that they use for corporations. So that basically so that normies don't have a connection, so they don't get triggered by the harsh language. And yes, Failguard was an SBI baby, like Atanashi said. Yep, that's one reason why everybody was like, well, no fucking wonder it failed. Sweet Baby had a huge influence on this game.
BioWare, and this is a very bad look for BioWare currently. But if you go to the actual statement, this is from BioWare's website. They have this studio update posted just yesterday saying, "Hello, everyone. Today we are turning towards the future and preparing for the next chapter in BioWare's story. As we announced in August of 2023, we are changing how we build games to meet the needs of our upcoming projects and hold ourselves to the
Uh-huh.
highest quality standards. Now that Dragon Age The Veilguard has been released, a core team at BioWare is developing the next Mass Effect game under the leadership of veterans from the original trilogy, which is actually a pretty interesting move. I guess they're trying to recreate some of the
Uh,
magic of the previous game.
okay, but Rev is kind of sounding maybe a teeny bit hopeful. I'm sure he's very cynical about this. This means nothing. This could literally just mean that veterans from the original trilogy are coming back in a very, sideways advisory capacity and are not actually going to be doing anything. But this way, BioWare can say, we actually brought back the OGs from Mass Effect. So Mass Effect fans can go, oh, they brought the OGs back. Mass Effect's gonna be good. Let's get hyped. And in reality, they're just tertiary advisors that will have zero impact. Corporations have done this before. That they say we're bringing back the people that you love to work on something, and they work on it in the most infinitesimal way that has zero effect. So technically they didn't lie, but they didn't actually fucking do anything. So take this with a very, very, very hefty grain of salt. Because don't forget, they're bringing back the veteran, the even if these guys are taking a major front line on this game, if the studio does its bullshit interference like it's done with all of its other games that have crashed and burned, it's not going to make a difference. Don't forget that. If the studio or SBI interferes, it's not going to make a difference that they bring these guys in.
Games. But down here they say, in keeping with our fierce commitment to innovating during the development and delivery of Mass Effect, we have
Uh-huh.
challenged ourselves to think deeply about delivering the best experience to our fans. We are taking this opportunity between full development cycles to reimagine how we work at BioWare. Given this stage of development, we
So,
don't really require support from the whole studio. We have incredible talent here at BioWare, and so we have worked diligently over the past few months to match many of our colleagues with other teams at EA that had open roles that were a strong fit. Today's news will see BioWare become more agile, focused studio that produces unforgettable RPGs. We appreciate your support as we build a new future for BioWare.
problem with that. This right here worries me because BioWare has a very, very bad history of crunching the ever-living fuck out of their devs. So if they're saying we don't need help from EA, we'll do this on our own, are we going back to crunching the shit out of our devs? Where they will lollygag the fuck out of the game for years, and then the last, 8 months, they're gonna basically beat their devs to a pulp with crunch in order to get the game out on time. That's my concern. Is that, are they gonna go that route? Which is, it didn't work for Anthem. They tried to do that with Anthem, and it did not work. The game's prior Anthem, that seemed to be that quote-unquote, like you said, APOC BioWare magic, which was crunch, which was basically destroying developers' emotional states. And Hybo, no, I don't think it was. The crunch is because the lead teams for BioWare with their games basically play fuck around for years, and they don't actually buckle down and get to work on shit until about the last year of development. That's been like with Anthem. Anthem spent 5 years in quote unquote development, was then basically just fucking off and not even developing the game, and then spending about 8 months just having the devs working 12, 18-hour days, crunching the fuck out of them to get it out on time, when the developers did not even know what game they were making until that complete bullshit release trailer that BioWare put out at E3 launched, and that's when the developers actually knew what game they were making. Up until that point, up until E3, when EA and BioWare released that completely fake trailer, a completely fake gameplay trailer, because let's not forget about that. When they did the trailer for Anthem at E3, that was supposedly being played by someone, the trailer supposedly was a person playing it, and you had the dynamic movement walking through a marketplace, and then you had the out in the field, and you had supposedly 2 players talking to one another and picking up weapons and all that. Number one, that was 100% fake. Every moment of that was a completely scripted thing, that it was not actual gameplay. That was 100% basically like a movie made for E3, but that movie that they made for E3 that was supposedly gameplay, and it wasn't, is when the devs when the actual developers of Anthem, A, realized what game they were making, and B, what the name of the fucking game even was. They did not even know the name of Anthem until that trailer. That's how fucked up BioWare is. They are known for just crunching the shit out of their developers and burning them out. Big time. So, are they going to do the same thing with Mass Effect? Yeah. Exactly, Leo. Actually, that should have been don't bother trying novel strategies for making money. But yeah.
So yes, how does one become more agile? Well, you shed some weight. And by shedding weight, you're doing a round of layoffs. So a lot of people at BioWare have clearly lost their jobs, and that's not surprising. Like I started this video off, actions have consequences. You can feel sorry for BioWare all you want, but at the end of the day, you're in the game business. Okay, if you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars producing a...
Was it 18 months? Okay. So I thought it was less time than that. So I thought it was 8 months. It was actually 18 months. But yeah. So from the announcement date, it was 18 months. Exactly. They crunched the fuck out of them, and it showed in the end. You know, it was a good idea, and an absolutely dog shit watch. You know, dog shit execution.
You're in the game business. Okay, if you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars producing a very well liked IP like Dragon Age, you got to produce results. And when you have a
You understand?
cataclysmic failure like Valgard was, people are going to lose their jobs as a result. So instead of being
Yeah.
angry at people pointing this out, maybe you should be angry at the studio and why they went such a terrible direction with this game and IP, which, by the way, this IP appears to have been completely destroyed by Veilguard, which is a crazy
Yeah.
and sad thing to see. But who is getting laid
You
off? Well, of
think?
course, Bioware.
Chat, do you think Dragon Age as a franchise is now dead because of this? Do you think that Veilguard may have actually killed the Dragon Age franchise? I don't know. I've no dog in the fight when it comes to Dragon Age. I've never played Dragon Age. I honestly didn't have too much of an interest, but you think it's dead now? Do you think that they've effectively killed the franchise? It's dead for the foreseeable future, long hiatus, killed the ability. Well, okay, Moe's, I think the ability to get pre-orders died long before Veilguard. Nobody gets pre-orders anymore because people have been screwed over so badly, particularly by EA and Ubisoft. So, the pre-orders thing, you can't level that only at Bioware. No, you're right, actually, no one's gonna trust them. Everybody is going to be looking at Mass Effect Mass Effect is going to put under a fucking microscope. You can bet that with anything regarding Mass Effect, everybody is going to be looking at the most minute detail when it comes to any news about Mass Effect and when the game actually launches.
In EA, they're not going to come out and officially announce just how many people are leaving, at least this round. They did that back in 2023. I believe
I
50
know,
people
Minnick, I
were
know.
laid off back in that year, but so far we have no numbers for this recent round of layoffs. However, following the announcement, as IGN reports here, a number of Bioware developers took to social media to say
It could be
they were
Atanashi,
leaving
yeah.
the studio. This included a couple of editors, a senior systems designer, as well as a narrative designer and lead writer, and a producer as well. So some pretty high-ranking roles in the Dragon Age team. Now, all of these posts, where do you think they were made? Do you think they were made on X or traditional platforms like that? No, of course. You're dealing with a lot of woke people from BioWare. They're, of course, posting all these announcements on where else but Blue Sky, one of the biggest echo chambers for people in the gaming industry you'll ever see. I want to start with this post, which is from someone who worked at BioWare many years ago, but I think this is kind of a good reflection on who we're dealing with in this company and the type of people getting laid off. So this person says, I was a writer at BioWare for 5 years. I leaned a lot during this time. So this person once said,
Okay. This explains a great deal. A writer, but bear in mind, a writer at BioWare leans a lot. That explains so much. And this is how she spells folks. This. She spells folks Folx instead of Folks. Uh, like this, I can maybe see if you're trying to edge out the character limit, but you didn't have to put in a fucking space here. You didn't have to put a fucking space here. But I'm gonna chalk it up to she's trying to be clever. This is probably her trying to be clever, and this is her being a BioWare writer. Okay? This explains a great deal of what's going on with Bioware lately. If this is the level of people being hired to write for Bioware. No, Bronco, I think this is literally just Anna Lee May trying to be witty or edgy.
Sentence says they were a writer at BioWare, and then the next sentence, 2 words in, they have a misspelling. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. But they say during this time they had a lot they learned from exceptional folks in many disciplines, but also specifically from my fellow writers and our amazing editors on both the ME and DA brands. Today, not a single one of those writers and editors remains employed there. Yes, they
Uh-huh.
really cleaned house with this whole situation. None of the OG team, at
Well,
least with
you know what? You fuck around, you're gonna find out. And these guys found out. It is what it is. You've got to actually do your job and make the company money if you want to remain employed. That's kind of how jobs work.
the writers and editors are employed with BioWare. They completely axed all of them. And again, it's not too surprising. But you look around at the people at BioWare, or the people who used to be at BioWare as well, and doesn't it just make sense? Like, Bio checks out as per usual.
Oh,
But scrolling through this person's account here, you can see all the other people who were laid off.
well, okay. Before we look at all the people being laid off, let's look at her, shall we? What are we seeing here? What is it we seeing here, chat? We seeing all the classic warning flags going off? Pronouns in the bio. I'm guessing this is this for trans? I don't know what the colored hearts here are for, along with the blue. We've got the rainbow flag. BLM. Oh, it's for Ace? Okay. Thank you, Ace. I don't keep track of the differently colored flags for the differently colored groups. I'm sorry, I don't keep track of that. So we've got the Ace colored hearts, the trans flag, BLM. I have no idea what the hell AAPI hate is. If someone would like to, oh, it's Asian and Pacific Islander hate. Is that still a thing? Is Asian and Pacific Islander hate still a thing these days? I haven't heard. For a brief time, yeah, people were, that there was, some targeting for Asian people, early 2020s. A lot of people, there was, there was a little bit of targeting happening there. At least the news media was making it seem that way. I didn't think that was still a thing. Hell, BLM is a ghost at this point. That's gone the way of the dodo. Per aspera ad astra. What does this mean? What the hell is per aspera ad astra? Through hardships to the stars. Okay. That's fine. Do not obey in advance. What in the fuck is this? What is do not obey in advance? This is coming from a former writer for a company who is all about consume product.
This is going to a leper colony with no condom cheer 100 cheer 100.
Graphic? Yeah, I mean, don't follow blindly, but again, this is coming from a writer from a company who is saying, don't look at the problems, just consume product. Eh? Anyway, if someone's gonna put this shit in their bio, I'm gonna stop the video and read it because guess what? Red flags all over the fucking place here.
By Bioware. You can see this
Oh,
Trick
yes.
Wikis individual saying that
Thank
they're
you.
looking for a new writing and narrative position, and then what appears to be their partner saying the same thing with their editor
Eh.
role. And then you have this other person, Ryan, down here saying their time at Bioware has ended and they're moving on looking for some new opportunities. And then this other
Oh
person,
my
Jen, saying after
god.
almost 14 years at Bioware, they have been laid off. And it goes on and on and on. But some of these individuals
Wow.
are eyebrow raising for many reasons. This Trick person, I think we've talked about them briefly before, but looking through their account, it's a very strange.
Chat. What are we seeing? What are we seeing, chat? The fuck are we seeing? And look at what they worked on. Look at what they worked on. Yeah. Hello. I wish these people just. I mean, it's on Blue Sky, so. Fuck! Shadow Spurta, thank you. Thank you. And bearing in mind, guys, I don't like harping on things like this. Like, I do not want to see Twitter and Blue Sky bios and go, well, there it is, because they're basically calling out that they're insert, group here, LGBT or whatever. I don't like calling that out. I do not. Because, again, it is, these are minor. These are a fractional part of this community. And the LGBT community is being hurt by people like this that are doing the pronouns in bio and cramming the agenda down people's throats. I don't like having to call it out because I know how much harm it does to the LGBT community, and that hurts my heart because because the vast fucking majority of the people in the LGBT community are not these people. I have to keep prefacing this. These are outliers. These are activists. These people do not speak for the community writ large. I have to keep pointing that out because it might give the impression that it's like, oh, if if there's any, everything. I don't want the idea to be that anything LGBT related is bad because it's not. It's not. That's why I have to keep emphasizing this. Is people, people that in the LGBT community that are not activists don't ascribe to this viewpoint. They don't try and cram shit down their throat. They just want to be normal people. They just want to live their lives. And I hate the fact that this has become a red flag because unfortunately, it is going to cause a splash effect on the normal people. That is what kills me. Is that this shit is you're going to have collateral damage to the average everyday person who is LGBT who has nothing to fucking do with any of this bullshit. And that pisses me the fuck off. That is why I fucking hate these activists, because these activists are speaking on quote unquote on behalf of a group of people that does not want them to speak. They want them to shut the absolute fuck up. And that's why I'm always vehemently saying these are activists. This is not a spokesperson for the community as a whole. and I will continue to say it. This is not the community as a whole. This is an outlier who is an activist. Everyone, including the very people they are supposedly championing, to shut the fuck up.
Presentation, okay? Like, I get it. I'm not surprised to see activism and things like that on Blue Sky, especially when it involves someone who worked at Bioware. That's not too surprising, but some of the stuff starts to get pretty concerning. But what I want to start with is some of the posts that they share, okay? So they reposted this. It's artwork of the character Tash,
What?
where this person captioned it saying, "You're right, Tash. Transphobia is an axable offense," where it says, "My pronouns are they/them," like implying that if you are transphobic.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that the Trans Femme review. Who knows what the hell that was even about, and I don't care. I'm sorry. It, I don't care anymore.
An axable offense, where it says, "My pronouns are they/them," like implying that if you are transphobic, you are going to be gay-mended. Which, again, with all.
Yeah, Zep, that's not clever. That's basically saying that because Tash is deciding to go non-binary for reasons other than DEI in Veilguard, that if you don't accept it, you're getting an X. Uh-uh. Well, it's pretty clear because you're seeing the axe and you're seeing blood. Okay? This is kind of definitive. There's really no ambiguity going on here. Yeah, but Zeb, granted, we do need to see down further, but this is blood splatter. This is axe blood splatter. So I don't know. Well, he might because I'm thinking there's no like dead bodies down here, but that's blood. That's indicating that I I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Alright, let's let it cook. Maybe there's more to this. I doubt there is, but this could be taken several ways. Hopefully we can see a little bit more. It could just be a pun. It could be. And it's like it could just be a play on words. And this is just, talking about how Tash is like a warrior. It could be that. I will benefit of the doubt and say this could just be alluding to the fact that Tosh is a warrior in Dragon Age. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe let's see if we see the rest of the
All
picture.
these other labels people give, like anything like that, like bigot or transphobe. Pretty much, you'll get that label if you disagree or criticize someone who's trans. So that's a very, I guess, low-key threatening post to share. But also, we have this post that they also shared.
And to basically expound upon that, the reason why it's so easy to jump to maybe that this is being threatening is because these activists act this way. They act this way. That if you quote unquote misgender them in some way, they will go fucking ape shit on you if that happens. So it's a bit reasonable to think that this is indicating that if Tosh gets misgendered, a beheading is going to occur. It's, not an unreasonable thought to have in the current climate of things. It is perhaps reacting. It is. Zeb, you could be right. I mean, it is a bit of an emotional response. I do realize that. And that's why I was like saying it could just be, a play on it, and the axe in the blood was just talking about Tosh being a brutal warrior. But the current climate is why those initial jump to conclusions might take place, because it's one of those things like you know you could actually realistically see the artist going that route with it. That's the scary part. You could see that being the artist's intention, which 20, 30 years ago you wouldn't have. 20, 30 years ago, it would have been instantly, oh, it's just showcasing how much of a badass she is. Now, the thought that this is a threat to anybody who misgenders is a legit possibility. Uh, thank you, Andrea. I'm always emotional about everything. I try to look at things logically, but I am an emotional person. Emotions do get the better of me. And Star Galaxy, thank you for the follow. Yeah. Oh, I figure, yeah, the they is here, the them is probably down here somewhere, and then you got the slash with the access noise.
Low-key threatening post to share, but also we have this post that they also shared as well that is captioned,
What the
added a
fuck is
small
this?
detail to this after reading some bad news. Tash says, trans rights are human rights and protect trans kids. We'll talk about that last part in a second, but first of
Wait,
all, I've said it before and I'll say it
what?
again. Anyone who needs validation from a fictional character in this sort of regard with modern issues and topics, get help. I don't know what else to tell you because I think
Well, okay, and is this supposed to be Tosh? Someone help me. Is this supposed to be Tosh right now? Is Tosh not purple? Why is this character gray with white hair? Tosh is purple. Uh, well, a lot more purple than this. Like, this is flat out gray. Like, that's Tosh. This. Well, okay, now, I don't think this is a Giga Chad meme. I think this is more. This feels like doing a bodybuilder pose. Okay, the pose I don't have a problem with because this feels like a bodybuilder pose, which both men and women do this pose as bodybuilders. So the pose, not a problem. That's what I instantly recognize this as a bodybuilder muscle competition pose. It's fine. Uh, well, Alex, I mean that's one. It's when it comes to young adults and transgender. I understand that there are many young people who, from a young age, recognize how different they may be. And I don't think that should be tamped to death. I don't. If a child, naturally, without external influence, that is the key point thing. Without external influence, if a child goes through development and realizes, I am not who or what I should be, I understand. I do agree that in terms of, any kind of medical, I'll call it interference, that's probably not a proper word. But I do think that until this individual reaches of adult age and has undergone care to ensure that there is no other issue lurking underneath that could be causing these feelings, I don't think that there should be anything medical done with the individual until they are, treated to ensure that this is what is going on and that they're of an adult age. That I do think is appropriate. I don't think that they should just be told, "Oh, this is just all in your head. You're just fucked in the head." forget about this. No. Should they have treatment? Absolutely. Should they have treatment to make sure that this is something that there's nothing else lying underneath that be causing it? Yes, I do. But if a young person is trans and they are undergoing care and it is indeed they are trans, let them develop that way. Let them develop, not medically, but allow them to do that. Yes, exactly. And that's why I'm saying it's allow them to develop, make sure that there's nothing lurking underneath. And if by the time they reach the age of adulthood, where they are legally adult and can make their own decisions and have basically developed mentally and emotionally, then they can continue. Because yes, there is a possibility that as they grow and develop, they may, to quote a very bad phrase here, but I am going to quote it, they may grow out of it. It's a bad phrase, but it is kind of appropriate. Let them go on this path, and if it continues to take them through adulthood, then so be it. If they realize by the time we reach adulthood, this wasn't actually what I was feeling, well, at that point, no harm, no foul, nothing medical has been done to cause any issues. That's my feeling on it. Do not discount it, but don't jump headfirst into the deep end of the pool right off the bat. That's what I'm saying. The archer pose? Ah, thank you, Elch. I did not know what it was called. Thank you. Anyway, that's my feeling on it, is as a young person, don't disparage someone. Don't crush them under your foot by saying, I think I'm trans. Work with them. Let them, help them to work it out if this truly is the way to go or if it is not. Don't, again, without any external influence. That is a key point to note. Okay. Tybo, I'm sorry, I was rambling for so long, I'm delayed for so long, I gotta keep going.
I think that is a very pathetic thing to do, especially in this situation. I'm pretty sure this person reposting it here, Trick, I'm pretty sure they helped create this character. So they're sharing art of their own character, trying to validate their real life beliefs and stances, which is really odd. But we see this protect trans kids language in here. This is something they seem to very much hyperfixate on. And you can see their partner sharing an article, and then of course Trick reposting it, where we can see it's captioned like this. Here's a positive thing you can put into the world today. Order Girl Scout cookies from trans scouts via this list from this address right here. Now, a couple things. I'm only going to show one censored.
Again, I will point out, doing this is not helpful. This is not helpful to trans children. It is not fucking helpful. This is harmful. Doing it this way is harmful. Because guess what? The trans girls don't want to be fucking called out as trans. Just like trans boys don't want to be called out as trans. You want to know what they want to be considered? Girls and boys. They don't want to be separated and segregated like that, you dumb fuck. Doing this hurts the kids. This is what we are raging about, where you are forcing shit. Exactly, Alex. That's exactly what I keep screaming about. Stop segregating. Stop basically putting a goddamn spotlight on them when they don't want that fucking spotlight. The girls that are transgender in Scouts, the boys that are transgender in the Scouts,
When
they just want to
someone
be fucking boys
transitions,
and
they want to
girls.
be called by their new gender, fully not having trans applied to the front FFS.
Yeah, exactly. This Karen, of course it's a goddamn fucking Karen. You just, you are hurting these girls. You're not fucking helping them, you dumb cunt.
Example of one of these scouts that ends up on this public list. Also, again, with this topic, it's a very heated topic. Feel free to say, like, Rev, you're going too far. Rev, you're unreasonable here. Like, feel free to pump the brakes on me at any point. Like, but I feel like a lot of people are just getting tired of this stuff here. And I've had some related posts on Twitter about this going on in the VTubing scene, and people seem to
Exactly,
have had
Shadows.
enough of what's going on here. Myself and a lot of other people, I don't care what you do if you're an adult. If you want to transition, you're an
Yeah,
adult, that's your life. You do whatever you think is best. But once you start targeting children, you start confusing vulnerable children.
okay, again. And I'm, chat, I won't rant again. I will not rant again, I promise. I'm disagreeing with Rev on this one because, again, if there is not exterior influence, which Rev is implying that, unfortunately, Rev is kind of blanket statement in this. All kids are not being influenced when it comes to being trans. That is not happening. That is being hyped up in various mediums. Rev's channel, the news, other YouTube channels. It is being hyped up. It is happening, but it's not happening as much, I think, as is implied by these channels. But I do agree that exterior influence does not make for a healthy person when it comes to this issue. If someone goes through this in their young lives organically, they should have support and let them work through it, either continuing all the way through or realizing it was something else entirely and they work on that. This person is using these individuals for this bullshit promotion. That I'm angry about. And yeah, and Alex, yes, that probably is what he's talking about, and that's what I was referring to also. We do see it, it is there. I'm not denying its existence, but I don't think it is as widely spread as it's made out to be. So it's there, but it's not, let's not blanket statement this.
Children with this sort of ideology, that is full stop. And I don't understand how anyone else could disagree with that. And the way that people so fervently defend going after kids in this sort of manner is beyond me. So again, I'm not going to show this because it's just not a smart thing to post on the internet. What they're sharing here is an article with a curated list of kids described as transgender. It has their name
What?
and a little bio and how you can directly buy cookies from these children in an attempt.
So they basically published it. They just put massive fucking targets on these poor kids. Yeah, they doxed a bunch of kids. How are you fucking stupid? Again, these people, and I hesitate to use that word, are filming kids far more than they help them. This is why I keep saying these fucking people need to shut the fuck up. Because this is how young people go to that extreme point where they're not around anymore. This is what causes it when you dox the fuck out of them like this. when you dodge the fuck out of him like this, you paint a giant fucking target on him, and they're not gonna have the chance to try and figure things out now. Because now you just have everybody fucking targeting them. You fucking piece of shit. When I say leave the kids alone, this is what I mean. These kids just live their fucking lives. If they're gonna be trans, let them figure this out. Let them live their fucking lives. Don't dox them and put a goddamn target on them. Shit. This is what harms the kids. This is what harms them. People like this. They are using these children to push their agendas. They're using these kids like fucking tools. They don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about them in the slightest. Shit.
Attempt to support them. And when you look around at these names, and by the way, sharing a list of children online is already eyebrow raising and concerning.
It's not eyebrow raising, it's enraging.
Listed here, one of the children listed here. Obviously, I'm censoring their name. This is a she/her who is a 7-year-old proud transgender girl.
Oh, she's not a proud transgender girl. She's a fucking 7-year-old child. Okay? And I am all for supporting transgender kids. Okay? I am all for it. 7 years old. This child doesn't know what the fuck they want. They do not know what the fuck they want at 7 years old. This kid has not even gone through fucking puberty yet. Okay? Stop forcing your bullshit ideology and your... Jesus fucking Christ. This... Okay. 7. Yeah, too young. Too fucking young. A 7-year-old wants to be... Like, a 7-year-old doesn't know what the fuck they want. At 7 years old, this kid is still just looking forward to fucking cartoons. Okay? Oh my god. I know, Zeb, but that is not the norm. And even if this individual is like one of those that you see where they become aware of it at a very young age, you don't fucking broadcast it. You don't broadcast it. You don't broadcast it like fucking this. Okay, this is something that you that... No. Point blank fucking no.
Pardon my French, but what the fuck is this? Like, this is absolutely insane. And I don't feel anger towards this kid. I feel sorry for them. Because clearly, there's a lot of people in their lives who are making them very confused. And it is very, very insane to me that we have normalized this sort of thing. You go to the comment section on the article, there's...
I'm gonna disagree with Rev. I'm gonna disagree with Rev here. We don't know what this child's home life and what this child's parents are like. Okay? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Zeb. That's exactly what I'm saying. We don't know what this child's family is like, what they're doing, what the people around them are doing. We don't know. So it is unfair to say that the people around them are making this child confused. That is completely unfair. I'm sorry. it is that the parents could be very supportive. Yes, for putting this out on this website, yes, you blame the parents. For this being put onto this website and doxing this child, fuck yes, there you are. The 100% of the blame does go to the guardian on that one. 100% absolutely agree there. Yes, but we don't know if the parents are being just genuinely supportive, if you're being overly supportive, or what. We don't know. So to say that the parents or the people around this child are confusing them is unfair, and I disagree with Rev because we don't know. The only thing we can judge is that the parents basically put this child on fucking blast on the internet and dox their child. And that, cover your ears, chat. The parents get one of those. The parents would have had to. The parents would have to okay this for it to be published. If the parents did not okay this, that's a fucking lawsuit. So yes, the parents had to have okayed this being posted on the internet.
Hundreds of comments validating and encouraging this sort of behavior amongst kids, and it's blowing my mind, because clearly a 7-year-old is not old enough and is too impressionable to be developing these things on their own. It's absolutely insane. Again, if I'm going too far with this, I've lost my cool here, and I'm going too far. I don't know. Feel free to correct me, but this seems like something we should all be able to agree on.
I think,
and on top of that, you look around, and that original writer we saw earlier.
I'm not, while I'm disagreeing with what Rev said about potentially with the parents, I don't fault him for it. He's, like me, getting emotional about this because kids are involved here. And both of us can see the extreme potential harm from this. So Rev is working off emotion. I don't fault him for that, but but I will disagree with him about his idea about the child being influenced. I'll disagree with that. I'm not going to fault him for getting emotional like this.
That has no longer been with Bioware for a while, they also reposted this. So it seems like there's a legitimate cultural support of this at Bioware, both current and past, right? And it's just odd. And if you really support that sort of ideology, I don't really feel too bad about you losing your job, especially after the failure of Veilguard. And actually, it gets even worse because a lot of people are getting concerned, especially those at Bioware, that there's going to be even more layoffs coming in the near future. And does that really surprise anybody? Again, nope. Actions have consequences. You're a part
I think Bioware
of a
might shut down.
That did terribly. People are going to get laid off. I've been saying this over and over again. These studios seem like they will literally drive themselves into the ground with their sort of activism, because they care more about owning the chuds on Twitter than they do making a good game that's not going to.
I see Bioware shutting down. If they're able to actually make Mass Effect will probably be a make or break. If they are even able to get to the point where they can make Mass Effect in the first place, the release of Mass Effect will be BioWare's version of Assassin's Creed Shadows. If Mass Effect fails, the studio will too. So if Mass Effect tanks like Veilguard did, or even close to like Veilguard, they will shut BioWare down. They will shutter the fucking studio. Maybe, Andrea. I don't know. I don't want to go that route because that's a rabbit hole, and I just finished climbing out of one. I don't want to dive back into another one.
To annoy people. But anyways, let's look at some of the reactions on social media from various people.
Silver, I don't know, with the way the stock's
trying
taking?
to justify or excuse or sympathize with the people who lost their jobs at BioWare. This individual says, Trick and Karen Wikis, the two people we just looked at, the partners over there, have been laid off and haven't been moved to other EA studios. Absolutely abhorrent. They've been at BioWare for 20 years and helped shape so many Dragon Age and Mass Effect iconic moments and characters. So upset for them. Dragon Age really is dead.
Okay, which Dragon Age and Mass Effect? Because if it was Veilguard, and if it was Mass Effect Andromeda, this shouldn't fucking surprise you, Kayla. You do shit work, you get shit prizes. This isn't rocket science. It could be the older Danes, but was it only the older Danes, or was it also the newer Danes? Because if they've been at BioWare for 20 years, that could also mean they worked on the newer ones, which, if they worked on Mass Effect Andromeda, I never played it, but all of you that have, I mean, Andromeda was not a enjoyed game. Patrick Wheats was a writer credit on Mass Effect 2. What about Andromeda? Yeah, basically, it's, yeah, that is the question, is, you know, they helped shape, saying they helped shape so many Mass Effect moments and characters, how? Just because they were on the project and had a small bit of input doesn't necessarily mean that they were the driving force. Okay, Els.
And maybe that's a good thing that the IP is no longer, because that's the direction it's gone, and people were trying to justify this for their own political reasons, that this story was actually stunning and brave and something that should be embraced, when
No,
gamers just
that
didn't
doesn't
want that. They
surprise me,
didn't want
Mouse.
virtue signaling being shoved down their throat at every corner like it was with Veilguard. And yeah, again, actions have consequences. It sucks you lose your job, but at the same rate, well, that's what happens when you're in the gaming industry, and this shouldn't surprise anyone. Here's another very
Yep.
bizarre set of posts. So we have this screenshot looking, it looks like it comes from X, where this person says this: people will call me delusional, but a game getting 1.5 million players should not be considered a failure. This is very much capitalism eating itself and people suffering for it. Of course.
Tell me you don't know how capitalism works without telling me you don't have a fucking clue how capitalism works. Okay? And again, the 1.5 million, I'm pretty sure, is the expected lifetime, not the current count. The current count is not 1.5 million. And the other question is, how many of these player counts are they including someone who turned the game on, played for 2 hours, and then said, fuck this shit, I'm out, and turned it off? This person doesn't have a clue what they're talking about. They do not know, they don't understand. This is someone who hates capitalism, basically. Yeah, Alex, they probably would. I have very little doubt that they would.
Actually, the 1.5 million players is across all EA titles currently, not just Failguard.
Is it? Are we sure that's the 1.5 that they were quoting in? Are we sure that's the 1.5 million they were quoting in that thing we saw at the beginning? Because at the very beginning, the quote was 1.5 million. Hang on, we're at 1508. Yeah, so this player count is over all the games. This is all. So this was not just Veilguard. This was 1.5 mil across all games. That ain't good. That is definitely not good. Yeah. Yeah, where did you see who was it that said it? Yeah, Leo, where did you see the 1.5 millions across all EA titles? Where'd you come up with that number? I'm curious. I'm curious where you found that. The simple math doesn't work. There's got to be a record there somewhere. Yeah, that's kind of what I went with. It was mentioning Veilguard, so I was going on the assumption that it was referencing Veilguard. But again, the 1.5 million number that they talked about, we saw in a previous Rev story where they are quoted as saying that the 1.5 million was going to be the lifetime player count. And that's why I said it sounds like they're cooking some numbers. Yeah, exactly. It's that's why this is a the 1.5 million. This is a lifetime player count. So again, the posting was cooking the books a little bit. It's not the actual how many they've had. I get it. I get that.
Capitalism. That's the reason why Veilguard failed. Well, yeah, the issue here is that when you have a massive budget and you do these huge projects that take years and years and hundreds of millions of dollars,
when the
you
max
have
count
to
was
sell
less than
millions of copies.
300,000 on
Most
PC,
AAA
Jirahan,
releases that have budgets
1.5
like
doesn't
Veilguard, they have
work
to
on all
sell
platforms.
anywhere from 4 to even 8 million units just to have a chance to break even. So if they don't want to have to sell so many copies, then don't have such a massive and inflated budget. But it continues on down here where this person says, exactly, this is huge, but apparently not, according to them. It was the biggest Bioware launch. I genuinely am flabbergasted at EA's expectations here. Well, yeah.
Did not the cost of Dragon Age also kind of balloon a little bit? I thought I remember hearing something about that the cost for Veilguard was something like, wasn't the cost for Veilguard to make like 400 million? Or something like that? I thought it's like the launch was not big. We saw PC had a max. Well, what the fuck just happened there? How did that happen? We saw on PC it didn't even reach 300,000 players on PC at its peak. At its peak. And I guarantee you the console numbers, even though we don't have those, are not that much. Yeah, exactly. It's the biggest. This was they said it was the biggest BioWare launch of 2024, which don't say much. But this person just saying it's the biggest BioWare launch indicating ever, which is not. 250? But did we see something in another previous story that said it was actually going to be higher than that? It was closer to 3 or 350. Yeah, the reported budget was 250, and then we saw something, I can't remember what it was several weeks ago, that actually ballooned that up another like 100 million or something like that.
Yeah, they invested a gigantic sum of money to try to get a interest on it, to try to make their investment back and then some. That's how this works. And they supplied BioWare with everything they needed, and BioWare just dropped the ball. But here's another reaction. These are from
Alex,
Reset Era.
Elite
If you don't know what that is,
has
it's
more
basically
players.
like Reddit, but somehow even more woke. You can see people listing off the people who have been laid off at BioWare, and then you have this lovely post. It says this.
Oh, God.
So full-on MAGA effect to appease the shitheads, I'm guessing. More ass shots, more owl the edge, and as much high-end, non-cartoony graphics as the head can manage. I don't know what they're saying. Only beautiful women with big bazungas and perfect asses. Males can be ugly and fat, though.
What?
Only 2 genders for humans and non-binary aliens to slaughter, and no politics.
Okay, first of all, I think I just had a stroke trying to read that first part. Secondly, what the fuck are they talking about? What? What in the absolute fuck are they trying to talk about? And bear in mind, this person pissing and moaning about how the characters look. What's the profile picture? What's the profile picture? Could that be Doomslayer? One of the most manly men fucking alive, which is what gamers actually want? Huh? I'm just trying to figure out what the hell he's trying to call this out on. Is this this person pissing and moaning about Theogod? I don't even fucking know. Like, this one only you beautiful women, big tits and perfect asses. Okay, game on for me. I'm there. Males can be fat and ugly though. No, gamers actually like having big manly men. Hence the fucking picture in your profile of goddamn Doom Guy. And again, this only two genders for humans and non-binary. Yeah, only two genders, sure, but they don't mind transgender characters as long as you don't shove it in people's fucking faces. This... basically, most. This guy's trying to say that all gamers that want beautiful female characters and beefcake male characters, let's not fuck with it, are of this variety. Hey, chat. Did you know that I am part of this group? I didn't. I had no idea. 'Cause I want beautiful female characters with great looking tits and banging asses. But I do also want male characters that are either lean and tough or fucking beefcakey. Does that make me one of these? Eh? I mean, I fucking hate politics as a general rule, so... Yeah, damn it, I forgot, chap. I forgot. The internet has said that I'm woke, so apparently no, sorry. Wait, the internet has said I'm woke, but the internet has also said I'm a right-wing Nazi. Fuck, chat, I don't know what I am anymore. Sorry, chat, I'm doing the scarecrow pointing in both directions thing right now. I don't know what I am. I don't know what I am! Yeah, they've called me both dragon. I've had people on my YouTube comment section calling me woke. I've had people calling me alt-right. Shocking. Someone who has their own mind can think in multiple different directions that sometimes align with the shit you don't like. Shocking, I know.
Yeah, that's a very interesting description. I'm pretty sure you're describing what a lot of gamers would
I'd like to think so, Dragon.
By the way, that's the kind of delusions going on over there. But with this shutdown, we're seeing another round of layoffs. And this chart, I don't know if this person made this chart, they're sharing it from someone else, but this is a very interesting chart showing the layoffs and the closures of various studios from the major companies like Ubisoft, Microsoft, EA, and so on. And this is the latest round of layoffs. Is it going to fully close BioWare? Who knows? In time, maybe. The next Mass Effect is going to be a make or break for BioWare, and they better be ready to release something that is going to hit and hit very well. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're bringing back the OG team that worked on the previous installments, because they're trying to
I think they might be figureheads, the OG
they
team.
Really need it right now. And of course, on the horizon,
well, it's a bad time to be a game developer at a major
Assassin's
studio.
Creed Shadows. We saw the failure of many titles beyond just Veilguard, but the next focus is going to be Assassin's Creed Shadows. And do I think this game is going to sell a lot of copies? I think it will. I think it's going to sell a lot of copies, but it's a matter of how much did they cripple their own success with all the controversy over the past couple of months. And yeah, Ubisoft in this case, they need a gigantic win. Okay, they're in gigantic levels of debt. They're facing a...
Reg said that they're going to sell a lot of copies. I don't know about that with Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm not entirely sure, but isn't the sale of Assassin's Creed Shadows getting banned in Japan? One of the biggest game markets in the world? I thought I'd seen something about that Assassin's Creed Shadows will not be allowed in Japan. I thought. I could be wrong. Okay, Moros, good night. I thought I saw something that said they weren't going to allow the game in the country. But I'm not sure. I could be mistaken on that. Uh, I honestly, as far as like, is it going to sell a lot? I think with everything that's happened with it, gamers, I think, are going to wait. They might wait when it launches to see how their favorite reviewers like it. That's what I think may happen. There's gonna be a reasonable amount of sales. But I think I think a fair chunk may wait to see what their favorite reviewer channel says about it before taking the plunge. But we'll see. I don't think it's gonna save it. I don't think Assassin's Creed is gonna sell Ubisoft. It's not gonna make the kind of money it needs to stay alive.
Horrible market value right now. They can't even sell themselves at this point. Their IPs are more valuable than their actual company. And Assassin's Creed Shadows is literally their Hail Mary play. They have
Hi,
to
Dwayne.
score a touchdown with this. They
Good
have
night,
to
Ray.
sell an enormous level of copies. And every single controversy they got themselves in, which were all self-created, it's their fault. They only hamstring their own success
Keep
with
waiting,
that
Kaibo.
stuff. They could have maybe saved themselves, but it's going to be a lot harder now that they've done all of this nonsense to their PR. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. I went a little crazy with that one. I knew I was gonna go along with Rev. I did go a little crazy. But chat, do you blame me? Do you blame me for going a little off the rails? Mm-hmm.